What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Tribal Academy. And I do apologize and ask you to ignore the background. My job has led me to a hotel room. But I did go to my local Target and I saw a Magic the Gathering Foundation Starter Collection. It looks just like this. And I was thinking to myself, if I was a new Magic player and I was wanting to get into Magic, Commander, Standard, whatever, I'd probably be looking for a kit to start with. And I was like, what's in this thing though? Like, is it legitimately good? Or, and for me, my personal opinion was Foundation is a great set for people to start out with. If you guys can find Foundation out there, get it. It's great to start with. And I know friends of people that would be like, hey, you should go get this, and tell people to go get this. So I was like, all right, let me look at this first before, I tell somebody that's beginning to Magic, should you buy this? Now, in this thing, it comes with 350 plus cards, one storage box, a click wheel, like so, and 3 play boosters. That sounds pretty good. You get 350 cards plus the play boosters. That sounds like a deal right there. And it's about $65, $70 for this. So that's not a horrible price for that many cards, right? All right, so the box itself has these little slide dividers in it, and you can put little standard decks in it, or you can take one out and put your commander deck in it. That's also really great for people as when you go to a local gaming store and they don't have carrier kits yet because they haven't went to a local gaming store, and this is their first commander deck they've ever built or standard deck they've ever built. But that leads to a question. Could you build a commander deck or a standard deck in this? So I went through all these cards, and they're actually laid out all in front of me, and I have a horrible habit of doing this where I just lay a bunch of different cards out, and I try to build stuff off of it. But, yes, you can do it. Absolutely with this. All right? So I was going through, and I was looking for commander staples, because you know me as a commander player, I'm looking for staples, things that just ring out like, this is commander, these belong here, and they are in it. 100% in it. Stuff that you can play in standard, there's that too, but commander has its staples, like the things that go in it, and they were there. So I went through, I found impact tremors. It's great. Whenever a creature you control enters, this enchantment deals 1 damage to each opponent. If you're running a token deck, boom, 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 I make 20 tokens. Y'all, I pick, well, you don't even pick the opponent. It says each opponent. So everybody's going to get 20 damage. I saw Thrill Possibility, which is a great, card. Get rid of a land card because you have enough lands going on. And you get to draw 2 cards after you discard a card. Well, you discard a card first, then you draw your 2 cards. Burst Lightning, which is pretty much a little bit of I would say it's as as good as Lightning Bolt. It's got a kicker 4, but you regularly just do it for the 1 and you do 2 damage. A lot of cards like that where it's a 1-drop, you ignore the kicker because your commander, like my Kuja deck, does something based off that. Vivi does something based off that. There's cards that are commanders or just other creatures in your deck that do something based off of just doing a 1-drop, and it just decimates people. I saw Mazes End, all right, and they had like 10 or 11 mazes in here. So like you could do the win con, you could build a maze deck. They had the commander for it. Where did I put it? Ramos Dragon Engine that you can run as a commander for the mazes. And I was like, all right, well they covered that. You can do Herbor or whatever you call it. I brain farted. You can do that. You can run every color, all the gates, and just go for it with the gates deck, which opens you so many possibilities of cards you can put in there. I would suggest do the gates deck. If you've ever never built a deck before, build the gates deck and take the funnest cards you have, put all your gates in there, mazes in, run Ramos as your commander, and just go for it, right? Just put all the things that do land surges in it, put that in. Put anything that does landfall, put that in it, all right? It doesn't have any protection, no ghostly prison or nothing, but just put everything else in it and you've got a gates deck. Now, this is more of a power 1 up to pre-con level. When I look through this box, you're barely going to touch the bracket 2 system. You're never going to hit the bracket 3 system, but you can definitely make something that could go up against a pre-con, which is really decent. You had Rogue's Passage in here. I wouldn't say it's exactly a commander staple, but if you're running big creatures, it needs to go in there. You pay for target creature can't be blocked, and you just boom somebody in the face, right? Commander damage, last little 3 or 4 are left, boom to the face, game. You have Command Tower in here. That's crazy, right? Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, like it's a foil Soul Ring and foil Arcane Signet. I found a Swiftfoot Boots in there. I found a Boros Charm for your Boros decks. I found Opt in there. Boros Charm. Let me go through Boros Charm. Deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker. Ignore that. Permanents you control gain indestructible until end of turn, or target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Right? Like when you need to go in and do that boom, you give it double strike with a Rogue's Passage. Boom, boom. Right? Or, well, bang, bang is what we say in my LGS. Bang, bang! Dave Chappelle. Or you can give them indestructible. Those are the two big ones off the Boros Charm. We have Opt, which is a draw card, 1-drop. Like I'm seeing a lot of 1-drops coming out of this thing. We have a Bray, which is a 2-drop. And that one is a lot like Throw a Possibility. Or no, it's not. My bad. A Braid's different. It's called Read the Card. I'm an idiot. Read the card, right? A Braid deals 3 damage to target creature, or you destroy target artifact. It's just a 2-drop, boom, 3 damage to something. It's dead. There's commanders that will die to 3 damage or 2 damage. But I was like, all right. So I saw all of that, and I was like, can I build a deck? And I absolutely built a cheap little deck that I could go to Commander and I say, hey guys, brand new to Commander, right? And I built a deck out of the Foundations starter collection. Is definitely in that bracket 2 pre-con. Are we down to play pre-cons? And you'll find the right group of people. There's going to be somebody in there saying, yeah, hey, you bust out your pre-con, put away that 3 level. You get rid of that 3 level. Let's bust out pre-cons. Let's do pre-cons, man. And they'll pull out a pre-con, and you can play pre-cons with people. But this one I chose was Zimone Paradox Sculptor, right? And I was just going through. I'm going through and I'm like, what can fit inside that deck? So I did 3-tree Mascot, Fierce Empath. Well, 3-tree Mascot, let me explain. It's a changeling, it's a 2-drop, and you tap colorless mana or something, and then you can add 1 mana of any color, activate only once each turn. Or you screwed up somewhere and you're like, man, I don't have the mana color, but you have that out and you're like, hey, I could use this and I can make a mana of any color. Now, some of these cards I just had to throw in there. But with Zimone, though, let me go through her real quick. I didn't do that. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. Now, if I pay a green and a blue, I can tap her and double the number of each kind of counter on up to 2 target creatures and or artifacts you control. So I'm doing +1/+1 counters. I'm trying to go a little bit crazy with the +1s and make big creatures out of small creatures and bigger creatures out of big booty creatures, all right? So I put, we're just going to fly through this a little bit. I'm going to point out things that I really like, So we have this Fierce Empath. When this creature enters, I get to look in my library for a card that's 6 mana or greater, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. I know it's a 3-drop, but I kind of want that later in the game because there is some things that are above 6 mana. Now, I'm not a fan of playing really, really high-cost creatures. In a deck like this, I'd probably play low-cost and just rely on the +1/+1s, but I had to work with what it offered me, right? So that's why I'm saying this is touching into the bracket 2 system a little bit. There's no infinite combos. There's no, there's just nothing that really screams that I'm coming to win. It's just I want to sit down and enjoy myself. Spring Bloom Druid. When this creature enters, you may sacrifice land. If you do, search your library for 2 basic. I do have the Tolarian Terror, which costs 1 less for each instant or sorcery that's in my graveyard. So a 6 cost could be a 1-drop. He's a 5/5 with a ward 2. We're +1ing him. Harbinger of the Tides. You may cast this card as though it had flash, and then we're just doing cards that are just big booty, like Rampaging Balofs. Whenever a land you control enters, you may create a 4/4 green beast token. We did Elvish Regrower, Reclamation Sage. Like I said, we're just doing that, and then we're going to go past the creatures real quick, right? Like, it's just stuff like that where I'm just trying to make stuff. And there's other ones like the Predator Ooze. Whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever a creature dealt damage by this creature this turn dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And it's just, we're doubling up the pluses, counters, and all that stuff. And we go past the creatures wherever this stops. I don't know, right? Crazy. I focused on the +1/+1 counters first. Like, that was like the synergy parts where like things were getting +1/+1 counters based off of something I did or something it's supposed to do, and then just doubling them up with Zimone with her ability. And then I just did cheap spells, like Flash Freeze is 2 cost, counter target red spell. We have Negate in here, target. So stuff that just like either removal, counters, all that stuff I put in there. Witness protection, make something a citizen, is a legitimate business person. Story behind this card and why I liked it in here. So there's a guy on the Facebook group, and he plays this card, and daily he updates from Arena that cards that he's turned into legitimate businessmen. He's on day 42, and it's just he did it to Gift Shop. He made Gift Shop the 1/1 businessman, whatever you want to call it. Hilarious. Love it. Love the idea. It was really creative, and that's why I really like that card. It's a really cool card. But stuff like Grux, Uprising, whenever this enchantment enters, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. Whenever a creature you control with power 4 or greater enters, draw a card. So it's just card draw, and it's everything gets trample. So we made it big. We're gonna go trample into people. Ordeal Nalia, enchant creature. When enchant creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When there's 3 of those on it, then I sacrifice the R. When the sacrifice this R, I search your library for up 2 basic land cards. So just a little bit of getting it up there. It's just a 2-drop, right? It can go on something really cheap, really early on, and move up. And then when you get rid of it, you go get your lands. Primeval Bounty, whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 3/3 green beast token. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +3/+1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters, you gain 3 life. It's just a beautiful card like that. I did Dictate of the Crucifix. That is a cool card. It's a group hug card. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. So I'm helping to draw through the deck. But then I just did random random artifacts and all that stuff. All the way to Soul Ring. I do have Basilisk Collar in there to get it lifelink and all that stuff for 1 creature. And then just put the command tower. I have 14 of each land color in it with all the other lands that were, I could fit in there. And then just went all out. It's a cool deck. I would love to play this with one of my friends. And then I went ahead and I was like, all right, let's make a second deck, right? And I made almost a full second deck with that minus the Soul Ring command tower, because they only give you 1 of those, the Arcane Signet, which I wish they gave 2, so then you can sit down with a friend and split it. And I would suggest you focus on 2 colors if you're going to make a commander other than the Ramos Dragon Engine, the Gates deck we talked about. But this thing is legit. Like, this is a legitimate business person, all right, of a box. It's cool. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I got to have some fun just, getting creative and all that stuff. I didn't go for a really expensive commander either. Don't go for anything that's over a 4-drop, I would say. I'd stick to 4 and below, unless you're playing Ramos, which is a 6-drop, which drops are related to how much mana it costs to get them out there. But it's if you're just getting into Magic, you're a little bit experienced, you understand how mana and playing things work, but you've never really built a deck, and you want to build a deck of your own, but you just don't know how, and you need practice. This Foundations Starter Collector, for $60 to $70, in my opinion, is worth it. I think you get your money out of it, and it just really resonated with me. I liked it. It gave me something to do while I was bored in a hotel room. So, should you go out and get it? Yeah. Even an experienced expert person, if you just want to have a little fun and build decks with friends, you and your buddy go buy one of these. You buy a box, they buy a box, and you just build a deck out of it. Now, I do think that for the 185 cards, or 350 cards, my bad. The 350 cards, I think, are all the same. I don't know, because I didn't buy 2 of these. Maybe I should buy 2. But from what I can tell, you're going to get the same cards. Now, the boosters, they're always going to be different. Just like buying a booster off the shelf, you're going to get different cards, and it's cool to crack them open. But if you didn't know, boosters look like this. They look like this. Different cards in those. They're random, right? Foundations is a great place to start in Magic. I think that's where most people should start out, is with Foundations. Yes, it's got my approval on it. 100%. I will never back away from that. This is a perfect starter set. So if you like this type of content, or you saw any cards or anything that look cool, or have questions, feel free to comment, like the video. And I am a smaller YouTuber, so every subscription does help, and I do appreciate it. And I do cherish you guys so much for being here and being part of this community. I hope you guys have an awesome week. Remember, stop being salty when you play. This has been Tribal Academy. Adios, mi amigos.